We are live already. Hello, everyone, and welcome to hopefully a new exciting stream. So, after the feedback that you guys gave me on the last stream for the listening to your track session, I thought why not do a follow up? Was pretty fun, so let's just do another one. Just prepping everything, so checking everything works. Give me a quick moment. So tracks. Sorry, my audio was gone. So let's switch screens here. How you guys doing? You feel all right? I hope so. Coffee is ready. Quite a bunch of submissions today. I can't promise we can go through every single one, but I try my best. And this time, I managed to really not listen to a single thing. So it's really a true first listen experience for me. We had a bunch of tracks last time, but this time for sure. So I haven't listened to anything. And I actually need to download while we're at it. I download the first two tracks. We have 3, 4, what is it? I think about 20 submissions. I'm not sure we can go through each and every single one, but that should not stop us from jumping straight in. So let me see. I put them here. LTYT, listening to your tracks. And this will fill up once we go through. And yeah, welcome everyone. Hope it's gonna be fun. You can discuss the tracks in the chat as well. I try to follow along as best as I can. And just again, as a quick for those of you guys who don't know about me, so I run a production music label together with my partner, and have been doing production music and music for TV and films for the last 12 years, close. And I think I know a thing or two about tracks for media music. And I just thought, well, why not listen to the stuff that you do? And I try to be honest with my opinions. So if it's great, it's great. If it sucks, sometimes I may say that too. But so there's no need to sugarcoat anything. I mean, we all want to learn from that, and always keep in mind this is never personal. This is all just with a pure business look on things. If I, in my opinion, think this can work, or this sounds great, or this doesn't sound great. So, without further ado, let's bring the. Sorry, let's bring the first one straight in. I don't want to auto preview. So there we go. And I also don't want to have musical mode, because otherwise we may have tracks that are not sounding the way they are intended to sound. So take that off. There we go. No musical mode for imports. Just a quick check on the levels. I also want to put this guy up. So we can take a look at that. I think we should be good. You guys ready to roll? Oh, it's filling up. 30 people already in the chat. That's great. I really appreciate you taking the time and stopping by. Let's stop the talking and dive straight in. So the first one is from, I think, Leveler Beats. Let me quickly check my email and go through. No, this is actually Ember. No, Leveler Beats. It just says so in the name. Okay, there we go. So he's the first one for today. Okay, there we go. Let's give it a quick listen. Ooh. Just checking if my piano's working. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I gotta listen to that transition again. It was. Sorry for the dropouts. What an opener. Okay. Okay, let's turn the mic a little bit up. I hope that's better. Let me know if that works. So that should be better. And I can also, I will say something to the track in a second. So let's just raise the volume a tad in here. So we should be better with that, right? Let me know if that works better. So, overall, great track. D minor, 110 BPM, so that is all fine. I played that transition here twice because it sounds a little bit offbeat to me. Let me quickly bring that to the grid so we have that on. Looks like it is already. So I just want to check that. Just make sure I don't get anything wrong. I think the only thing that kind of distracts me a little bit is that that big hit is on the off, on the two end. Dum dum dish, kind of caught me a little bit off guard. Artistic choice. Well, you can do that. I may have straightened that out a little to flow a little bit nicer going into the percussion section. But on the other hand, you do it all the time, so it kind of... it makes sense. Overall, that the only thing that... the production is great. The sounds choices is it's very modern, hybrid trailer style, works great. I feel that this whole section leans a little bit too long to stay on the, because if you break it down, you're just writing D minor for the whole section. At the latest, at this point, I would have tried to change it up a little, because you're pretty much repeating the whole section. I know you bring in more elements and try to make it bigger, and it gets bigger, but I'm feeling it lacks a little more development, not on the like pushing more and more stuff into the track, but rather in terms of melodic content, because again, we are looking at like 1 minute in, and there has not been a single change in terms of tonality. So it keeps running on D minor all the time. Even if you just in between change it up to and back to D minor, just to have a little more sonic interest or harmonic interest in these kind of sections. Or hinting something from the harmonic changes you bring in the third act. Minor note there. It's really a minor critique. Overall, it sounds really good. In terms of mix, once we enter the third part here, I'm missing a little bit more low end on the first hit, like more of a sub or something that even supports more the big one here. That one feels just a tad flat, so I would bring in there. Yeah, I just downloaded some Jaeger stuff and Audio Imperia stuff, just released today. So when we look at that, like having just something like a sub information there. Actually, let me quickly add another contact and move that to the side so we don't always have that white screen when we close it. So, there we go. So, if, just as an example, just to beef up the low end a little bit. So with kind of like these type of sounds. Oops, wrong one. Let's get rid of this, and this is the one I want to bring up. So we could even filter out a bit. So we just have the low end information. If you combine that on the one versus, it's not much of a difference, but it just fills out the subspectrum a little more. So to give a little bit more beef in the bottom area, you know. But other than that, actually you have it here. So on the second hit, you have more sub information than on the first one. When you combine these two, you know, there is more sub information on the second hit. Just, I would make sure that the first one has the same amount of energy to it. Can totally see that whole thing working for a decent trailer track, for a decent trailer announcement. The excitement is there. The melody is simple but effective. So if we could have a piano here again. I should have opened the template instead of an empty session. Sorry for that. So it's pretty simple but effective. I mean, this is what it's all about in trailers, especially for movies. You want to keep it simple to play a little more around on the production field. So it's nice chord progression, D minor to B major to G minor to A major. Classic, so to say. You can't go wrong with that. I love that little feedback sound there that you have going on in the end. Absolutely solid work, great production, leveler, great work, really well done. Great first track. I think this is going to be good today. That was fun. So, outside competition. That track comes from Ember Eyes. This is a track I wrote for Orchestral Tools competition a few months ago. I love to know what you think and what can be improved. So let's take a quick look, or a quick listen, better. Obviously, we can see that's already a bit quieter, which is fine. Not everything needs to be leveled to the max. So let me quickly get rid of this. So, okay, let's go. It shouldn't be sped up. Let's see. That's what I wanted to try to avoid. No, it's not sped up. Wait. Yeah, actually that was wrong because it's 44 instead of 48. I forgot to mention that. Next time, please, when you send tracks, send them in 48. 48 kilohertz. That's my standard. And I didn't... I need to change that. No, it's actually it was wrong. So I need to turn that to where is it? Convert files. There we go. Okay. So now it should be better. And just as an explanation, when I can fix that, even if you send 44, but when I brought that track in, I didn't change the sample rate, and that's why it kind of was trying to play back 44 in a 48 project. So that results in speeding it up. So let's give it a pro. Sorry, Ember. I'm can only apologize for playing it wrong. So let's go with the correct version. There's something off with the beginning already, with a cymbal roll there. It's like, yeah, then coming in. Nice ending there. Overall, sounds great. The beginning is something that I would fix, obviously, is just a small little detail, but if you want to have the track sound good from the get-go, just get rid of that. Let me bring in the Pro Q for a second. Overall, in terms of mixing, I feel that it's lacking. I mean, it sounds like straight out of the DAW, or at least not really treated in the master with the master. Overall, I feel that you could do a little bit of a smile EQ curve on this one. So that boxiness is a little bit. And also, I would personally give it a little bit of a push in the low end. So, don't take my word for it, but roundabout something when you compare the EQ curve. That's without the EQ. And we can also raise the level quite significantly on this one. We can say plus 4 or 5 dB. That brings the levels up a little more. Don't mistake that. I mean, louder always sounds better, but at least to the human ear, so we can easily be fooled by that. But even when we have a little more volume on this one and compare the EQ curves, the track is great. Composition sounds good. There's nothing that sticks out in terms of being out of place or something. It's just some minor EQ treatments that would help the Q to shine a little bit more. That's without the EQ. But that's how I would treat it more or less in the master, especially with sampled instruments. You got to be careful with that 300 to 500 hertz range, because you easily can get that kind of boxy feel. This is the stuff that, taking it to the extreme, Obviously, you don't want to take out too much of it because it is necessary for the overall sound shape. And by the way, what we can also do is analyze that with... I should prep these sessions better. We should have had that from the get-go. So tonal balance tool is also great for that kind of stuff. So especially, I mean, we could listen to the orchestral curve here. So the curve actually tells me I took out a little bit too much. Funny enough, that is kind of the stuff that I pushed a little bit. But actually, I think I should move that a little higher for more sparkle. But on the other hand, the highs are very harsh already in the track. I love that solo horn in the end. That's a great choice. Fade out is a little fast for my taste, so I would have that decay a little bit more naturally. But overall, nice track. Really, really well done, Ember. Great work. And sorry for the fuck up in the beginning with playing it at the wrong sample rate. Okay, next one. I should download the tracks while we listen to them and not one after the other. So we want to copy and we want to move the sample rate. Okay, that's better. That was an MP3, so there may be some sound discrepancies, but we try to not look into that too much, but we should be able to see that in the curve. Oops. Now I deleted the track. Yay. Okay, here we go. So first and foremost, playing the track through in full length is always a good sign. Wow, that sounds really good. There's few minor notes. Overall, great work. I love the soundscape. I personally think that you meant a little bit too well on the mastering side. The 1K range and the frequency spectrum is a little bit biting in the ears. I would tame that a little bit. Low end sounds great. Overall, not many remarks on this one. Feel is great. It has a dedicated aim on what it should sound like, and it does it really, really well. The percussion and the drums sound amazing. The only thing I feel that the distortion in the beginning is a little bit over the top. And if you keep in mind when you think about licensability and what music editors look for, usually they play like the first 10 seconds of a track. And at the latest here, I would get into the groove. And this whole section, the distortion is a little bit too much for my taste. So I love how it comes in with a filtered loop here. But thinking from an editor perspective, when you like listen to the first 10 and there's not much change in between what you do here with the fade in and what you do here in the beginning. So what you could do is just go in like this. And then you write at what this track is about. Because, I mean, we all know there is not much harmonic content that lifts it up in terms of melody. And I think this is all about production value and how good it sounds. And you want to have that element, what is the selling point for the track. You want to have that in your face from the beginning, so an editor knows what to expect from a track. When you have 10-15 seconds intro before you actually come to the point, you might losing out on a licensing opportunity because the editors already skipped to the next track, especially when this will be tagged like drums, percussive, high energy and stuff like that. And when you filter down your search to these kind of keywords and then start to listen to 20 tracks that are filtered out from the list, and your track starts as it does, and you kind of skip through and hear drum after drum after drum after high energy intensity track, and then yours comes in. I think you get the point. At this point, every editor would have skipped next. I mean, sometimes, they see the waveform. Sometimes they click in here. But I always prefer that kind of stuff. Get to the point as soon as possible. That doesn't mean that you should start your track like this. That would be not good either. Obviously on the one. You know what I mean. But yeah, I would get to the point a little faster. In terms of other stuff, the mix is great. For my taste, the mastering is a little bit too much. And the mids in that range, I would try to tame them a little bit before the actual mastering. So I think it is rather the synth and the sound elements that you have in the mix that so I would not try to fix that in the mastering, but rather in the mix and tame a little bit of these frequencies from these specific instruments that are in that range. The choir is really nice in there. Strings sound great. So that was Rudolf Andreas, I think. Great work overall. I really like it. I dig the vibe. Great stuff. Hope that feedback was helpful. I tried to do a little bit faster today to maybe get more tracks in there. So next one is from Frank K. Where are we? There we are. Brain Echo. Let's see. That's an MP3 as well. Solid levels, it looks like. Let's see. Oh, by the way, he said, greetings from Germany. I'm from Siegen. Making music is my hobby. Your music is fully my taste. Thanks for that. I myself make music this way for 5 years. I look forward to your comments. C minor 130. Okay. There we go. I'll bring that to volume. Oh, and I gotta make sure that I take off any EQ settings that I do beforehand. Sorry, I gotta listen to that again. There was something very weird going on, tonic sound-wise. Something that was off-key. It's so dense, I can't really make it out. Can be like a tonal riser or something, but it sounds very dissonant and rubs with the rest. Few issues I want to point out right away before I forgot about this while listening to that. There are some mixing issues overall. So a lot of instruments seem like they don't have a dedicated space, and it's very dense and very how to put it? A lot of stuff put in there, but not really like cleaned out the mix, and especially the percussion. If you listen very carefully to the percussion, they sound very hollow and very boxy as well, like not big but rather small, and the volume alone doesn't make them big and stand out. these vrum, vrum. And there's also some slight timing issues with these, so they're not always on point. So the whole mid-range is way overproduced, or there's too much information there. So again, the whole boxiness thing. The vocal has no real room to shine in the track because all the other instruments sit in the same frequency range. So if you want to have a solo vocal, make sure that it has actually space, frequency space to come through. If you have all the instruments, strings and brass and everything sitting in the same range, like 2 to 3K, that is where the most vocal understandability is. This is merely a mixing decision, but rather an arrangement decision. So when you have a solo vocal on top, make space for it, because otherwise it will get lost in the mix. It really just sounds like a background element far away. And here what else is going on in that same frequency range? So no vocal has place on top of that when you have so much stuff going on the same frequency range. So, but this is not necessarily a mixing thing, but more an arrangement thing. So it's way too dense to have space for the elements there. Comes out a little better towards the end, but in the beginning here, even here, the strings sound a little harsh for my taste, but they cover the same frequency range as the vocals. So it's even in that quiet, so to say, quiet part, you can't really make out the vocal as a distinct instrument or as a distinct voice. I mean, the articulation is very quiet in itself. Oh, okay, yeah. That might be because I asked for maximum length of 230. Yeah, this is tough to give tips right away on this one without looking into the actual mix. But overall, this, in terms of track, it's fine. There's nothing that stands out from a compositional standpoint that I think is not working. Besides that kind of weird noise in the transition here in the beginning, there's something off. I cannot really put my finger on it, what it is. Cannot really say what it is, but something sounds off in that area here with the riser. Maybe again, might be a tonal riser underneath, or just something that sounds off key. In terms of mastering and sound overall, it's a little harsh for my taste, but again, the problem is that the mix is not there yet. So you cannot master, have a decent mastering on something where the mix is not there. I don't want to be so harsh, but same principle, you cannot make gold out of, You know what I want to say. So when the mix is not there, the mastering doesn't help. It just, worst case scenario, it just amplifies the bad stuff that's happening. Yeah, and I would rethink my choices and my sounds of percussion a little bit. These sound like cartonnage boxes or something, or wooden boxes instead of percussion. They sound kind of strange just. I mean, I understand you want to have these flames, just a tad too often for my taste, and they don't have that sound to justify being that often heard in the track, you know. And sometimes you're just off beat. Like here with this one, you have the flam before and then it comes shortly after the one. You can even see that, how it's sitting behind the beat here. So yeah, I would work a little bit more on the percussion game and definitely check out some mixing courses on mixing that type of orchestral music. There is a lot of room for improvement. That track is really cool, so you can make more of it. And the whole last section needs some rebalancing between the strings and the voice. So right now they're fighting for the same sonic space. I would bring the strings a little bit down, the voice a little bit more up, try to compress it a little bit more so the dynamics are not jumping all over the place. So the voice is completely lost underneath the chords here. So what's the point of having a solo voice in there when you cannot make it and hear it at all? So this is something to keep in mind. But great work, Frank. Thanks for sending that in. The next one should be, I think, Sam, Some More Below, and that is not an original track. Is Sam he or she? I don't even know that. What a waveform. The big soundwurst. Let's see what it sounds like. Just making sure that we reset the EQ. Why do I always delete there? Sam is a he, okay. Sorry for that. Sometimes it's just not entirely clear from the first name. So, and just want to make sure we don't clip here. First thing I noticed that maybe because of the orchestral choices, there is just a slight imbalance in the sound field. Even when you want to distribute an orchestra, but it very much falls to the right side. Might be because of the brass steps that you're running there, but from the get-go, it feels imbalanced, you know? Brings a smile to my face, so job well done there. So, yeah, Doctor Who for the win, so to say. So obviously I cannot tell you anything about the composition. That's the problem with cover tracks. So we only can take a look at the production and the sound overall. For my taste, it's a little bit too much compressed and too much limited. We see that in the end when you... I mean, do we need to push it to -6 LUFS? So yeah, it's a tad too much on the mastering side for my taste. But overall, nothing really stands out on the mix side of things. Again, I mean, maybe it's my thing. I have a little bit of a problem with these boxinesses in most mixes, but that not only applies to the stuff you send in, that applies to my own stuff as well, and also to regular releases. I just hate the 400 to 600 hertz range. Now I always try to bring that down a little bit, just to get rid of that. It's kind of the other way of doing a smile curve in the EQ. A lot of times when you listen on hi-fi systems, stuff like that, they have this inbuilt smile curve, like lifting the low end a little bit, lifting the high end a little bit, and this is kind of just the other way around of not lifting low and high, but rather reducing a little bit in the middle to let low and high shine through more. But this is the most sensitive area for our ears that we react to, and that makes it low, mid, muddy. That's what I call it. Very, very fast. And this is hard to fix in the mastering stage. This really rather... that loudness meter cries for help, that's true. But it's absolutely a solid production. It sounds great. Minor niggles here and there. That lead synth is a little bit spiky in the beginning. So that one here. I think it's this one. And what I would do to tame that a little bit is to use a dynamic EQ. So I wouldn't even bring that really much down, because you want to have that signature sound of the synth there, that theremin-like sound. But you can do a dynamic EQ that just tames it a little whenever it hits. So it's a very nasty frequency. I understand it needs to be there, but it can be a bit tamed with a dynamic EQ, just to not have it spike as much. And you see how it's working. But it kind of evens out the soundscape a little. When I turn that off, it's not much of a difference. It just smoothes things a little bit out. Thanks for the noise outside there. The choir is great. Overall production is really nice. I think this should have been a fun project as well. The thing is, with these kind of sounds, with these synth sounds, they're extremely hard to mix, because it's in the nature of the sound that they sound so in your face and so, well, how to put it, nasty, you know? And you don't want to take out too much of that, because then you lose the sonic characteristics. But it's a fine line between taming that frequency range where they really blow, and keeping the sonic signature of that type of sound. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There is that synth sound in there, but great work, Sam. Well done. Dig it. Next one is, I think, an Asian submission from Sim Sung Hoon. Hey, my name is Sim. I submit my track 113 C minor. I don't know how to do that mixing and mastering at all. Just do the best I can do. Don't we all? The song is called Lonely Horn. So let's get this to 113, just in case we need it. Lonely Horn. There we go. So sorry for that. Let's do that again with a proper volume. Just on a side note, I would have taken out the horn completely at this break. I would have just the low strings ring out here and bring the horn back in on this position. Just from an arrangement perspective, to me it sounds a little strange to keep the horn running there. Okay. First of all, thanks for sending that in. There's a few. You mentioned that you have some issues with mixing and mastering side of things. I also feel that in the end here, you kind of try a little bit too much getting harmonic variation in there. It sounds a little bit all over the place in terms of what. So there's no more clear harmonic structure where you're actually going with this. I just feel that is a little bit all over the place. I would try to wiggle a little bit the individual melodies and make them a little bit more clear in where you want to go compositionally. Which lines do you want to emphasize? and which lines can be further back or even omitted completely. And in terms of mixing, the best example that I can give you is exactly what you hear in the end, with the solo horn and the snare that comes in. So pretty much what happens is the solo horn is standing right next to you in the bathroom, and the snare player is standing in a church on the other end of the house, like 50, 60 meters away. And that discrepancy creates something that the human ear regards as unrealistic, and it sounds strange and uncomfortable. And when you have a track where you want to focus a solo horn and you called the track Lonely Horn, actually it would sound more lonely if it had a little bit more of reverb. And the discrepancy between these two elements, and that happens throughout the mix. You need to look a little bit into your reverb game and see and learn a little about instrument placement in space, and not left right but back and forth, how you create depth within a mix of placing instrument on the soundstage front and end, because this just sounds like too far apart to make it cohesive. So that was just the best example to showcase, but it kind of goes through the whole track a little bit. And the same thing we had before, it's very muddy in the lower mids. That happens especially with when you work only with sample libraries. That is something that can easily happen. Especially in that range. But this is very hard to fix just with one EQ in the mastering stage. This is really more something that needs to happen on an individual level. So especially with the brass, when you have these brass chords underneath, I would fix that in the brass right away and not on the mastering stage, because the strings fight for that space, the brass fights for that space, the solo horn itself fights for that space. So everything is kind of concentrated in that frequency range from, say, 200 to 1500. And it's very, very important to control that area. Other than that, in terms of instrumentation, nice short strings, the brass is doing its job. It's a nice flowing track. Nothing that kicks me off the chair immediately and right away, but it's a fine track. So great work, and keep grinding. Just keep going and try to get some more information on mixing orchestral works, and also listen to a lot of stuff and maybe try to recreate something, your favorite scores, and try to get close to the sound of your favorite tracks. That's one of the best ways to learn and to grow. Looking into the next track, coming, I think, from France. And I think he sent that track twice because the first one didn't do 230, from Pierre. Let me submit a track to you. All the criticisms allow us to move forward. There you go. I am a beginner. I work with Cubase 10.5 Pro. That's great. Plugins used: Mallet's Flux, Spitfire Labs plugins for strings and woodwinds. It's not Epic Music. Well, no one said you can only send in Epic Music. Absolutely not about that. So Ken Howell, the French title means the dream of toys. It's just the idea of imagining what the toys are thinking about while they're stored alone in the cabinet. Okay, Let's take a quick listen. The toys in the cabinet. You guys ready? There we go. No, here we go. There's something frequency range that is very What? Did I do that? Or was that in the track? Where's that coming from? Why is that there? It's not even... Is it on the beat? Yeah, so the composition is very playful. It's always hard to judge someone else's composition just based on the composition. I like the playfulness. It has a little bit of a Halloween character, you could say, and it's playful. Also, but I also at the same... Oh wow, it's getting funny. Okay, we're going from innocent toys in a cupboard to plain evil laughing Satan babies. I just thought I kicked the cat. That giggle. Very nice. So there is, how to say that, the vibe is very Danny Elfman-like a little bit, at least when you look at like Alice in Wonderland and stuff like that. Some nice creepy elements. No, the boom was not a hidden track in the session. It's actually in the track. There are a few things where you really need to look into rhythmic placement and make sure when you have effects and stuff like that, that they really sit where they should sit. So when we look at the ending here, there was really sure where it was. There was something that sounded totally off rhythmically, and that hit in the beginning that totally caught me off guard. I'm not really sure if you need that there. It just sounds a little bit misplaced there, and I think you don't need that kind of trailer hit in that kind of track. Just do it with a rolling gran casa, or even a timpani could work there. You have some low end percussion in here. Everyone can submit a track, but Patreons go first. By the way, I forgot to mention that. So if you want to support me, I do have a Patreon page that is linked in the video description below. So any support is absolutely appreciated. And if you happen to be a patron, I think starting with a $5 tier, patrons go first on the track reviews. So the low-end tonal percussion you have here, I can't even make out what that is. There's something that sounds very, very takes over. Something in here, but here as well. That is very yeah, so I like the basic idea of it, but I also feel that you still have a little way to go to it. Sometimes it feels like more random choices than deliberate choices, you know, so a little bit out of place and a little bit all over the place. And chaos is fine as long as it is a controlled chaos. But this feels like an uncontrolled chaos at times. So random choices. And I'm not a big fan of that, I'm honest. And but you have some nice ideas, and I love the second part, the last part of the track. I really love that. That's really cool. I love the creepiness in that. But overall, the mix can need a little love, and the spatial placement of the instrument in the mix. Again, that's tough to judge just from the final render. Nice work, but I think you have a little way to go with that kind of stuff. I would really recommend listen to some of the scores that Elfman did, especially for like Alice in Wonderland and all these like more weird type of movies. It's totally in that realm of soundscape, and if you're a fan of that stuff and want to dig it more, I would listen to more examples of that and maybe try to recreate some stuff to get closer to the actual sonic landscape. Really look into the orchestration. You're nearly there with these tuned percussion instruments and the pizzicatos and everything. So the thought behind it is absolutely there. But again, some of the choices don't seem deliberate to me. It's more like by accident. You stumbled upon that by accident and left it in there because it sounded nice. So no bad criticism at all. And for being a beginner, that's really great work. Just keep grinding and keep doing more of that. You can only grow by doing more and more and more. So, nice one. Next one is by Richard Davey. Made this a couple years ago as a fantasy role-playing game type track that starts slow and peaceful and has a tempo change towards action battle. Don't really have anything more recent that is complete and under 230, but I wanted to submit something. Okay, there we go. I'm just getting back to composing now and writing something every day. Best way to go. I try to clean it up for you with some light EQ. Thanks so much for doing this. There we go. Where's the track? Did I not download it? JRPG. There we, oh, I downloaded twice now. Doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, Richard. What a change! I like the groove. That was fun in the end. Yeah. So two absolutely different directions, of course. So a little bit more action oriented in the past half and the beginning. Composition is fine from a standpoint, so nothing that stands out like in a weird way or anything. Again, oftentimes judging compositions is, and nobody can tell me otherwise, is always biased and based on your taste. And I'll be totally honest, not my cup of tea in terms of style. But again, I try to be as objective as possible. So it's absolutely fine in terms of composition, in terms of mixing and things like that. I will say something else to the second part later. First, in the beginning, it's always tough when you have piano and solo woodwinds, piano and woodwinds in general, because they always fight for the same frequency range. Like, funny enough, I feel like I'm repeating myself all over again, but it's the lower to mid range that makes such a drastic difference. The boxiness in that area, and this really comes to play in the last part. Composition is fine, but from looking at it from a perspective like a music library or something, this obviously needs a lot more modernization in the sounds. I don't want to go too drastic, but in parts it really sounds like the stuff I did like 15 years ago on my Sound Blaster 16 with the inbuilt MIDI sounds. So the drums are very MIDI-esque. The brass that comes in here, that is a dead giveaway when you have these more kind of pop brass things. And they have this attack phase before the note hits. So you hear that the brass kind of womp instead of bop. That is da 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 da. You need that kind of sound, and this is more, and this is that giveaway for not as well sample choice there. So that needs way better sample material. The drums are too dry, so the mix is not really cohesive in itself. And the horns are a little bit behind. So on that kind of stuff, you really need these like pop horns with a short attack. Do I have anything like that here? I don't think so. The only thing that comes kind of close would be, yeah, I guess swing. So if you look at, why does it take so long? So and that guitar sounds really bad. I'm not a guitarist, but this sounds bad. And the drums really just sounds like you, I don't know, put some socks on the mic or something. Flat. I think that's the best word to describe it. It sounds flat. So you need a way better choice of samples here to make that up to par with what's needed, at least for media production nowadays. Again, composition great, sound choices workable. Yeah, the whole short brass notes, that needs that. You need that energy in there, otherwise it just sounds kind of lame. But yeah, it sounds gamey-ish. I like the second part more than the first one, but that is more due to the fact that the first one sounds a little bit muffled, and I don't like the choice to put the piano in the same frequency range as the woodwinds. That just makes it harder to spot the individual instruments. And the whole part is just a bit... yeah. I'm missing a bit the excitement there. But that, again, may be related to the fact that it's not totally my cup of tea. So, but I'm only human, and I can only like what I like. And for the rest, I try to be as unbiased as possible, but that's not always working. But other than that, great work. I would really look into updating my sound game and sample game and try to see if you can find some better sounding sample libraries. I think that's the main pet peeve I have with this thing. But other than that, cool. Well done. The next one, I think, is Jason Clark. He sent 2 emails because he forgot to bring the information in there. Which lament? Is it lament or lament? So E minor 85. Let's quickly bring that back to the piano. And 85, I wrote this imagining introduction to a character in a short animated film. Basically, the scene would zoom through the forest until it reached the house of the main character, and then would enter in through an open window and follow him around his workshop as you get introduced to the character non-verbally by watching him work. I definitely tried to be one of the more whimsical, magical side of things for one. Okay. Magical, whimsical, I dig it. Let's take a listen. Sorry. Has a very classic film score vibe to it. The golden 20s in Hollywood. Okay. Definitely matched that, I said that before, golden era film score style sound. You could easily make that like 40s radio sound. With that EQ curve and a little bit long player disc noise on top, you have an instant 20s, 30s soundtrack. Has a really cool vibe. I dig that. Little jazzy in the harmonies. Sound choice is great. I imagine really like Wizard of Oz or some of the old pictures in front of me, running through these recolored pictures. My personal taste, that solo violin is sitting a little bit too far to the right. I would have rather put that a little left, but there's not much I can say about it. Sound is great, mix is great, composition is cool. Well done. I dig it. Really good. So now I forgot to download the next one in line. Where we are? We're Jason. Remco, your turn. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of a sad one. Remco posted that on my Discord channel. By the way, if you want to join the Discord, the link is in the YouTube description of the video as well. You're welcome to join. Bunch of cool people to hang out with, talk shop, talk music, and just have a good time, and maybe ask a question every now and then, and be the first in the know with new announcements. And Remco wrote this track called In Memoriam. which he wrote, because sadly a friend of him, let's take his email, wrote a short in memoriam piece on the occasion of a recent suicide of an old friend almost 2 weeks ago. Very sad, of course. I'm sorry to hear that, Remco. My thoughts are with you. But I had to put the sadness into something musically. I'm curious what you think. Composing is not new for me, but mixing, mastering, and working in the DAW is a new way of working for me where I'm getting familiar with the last 5 months. So you've only been on it for 5 months. Okay, let's see. Let's take a quick listen. Sorry for that. So obviously, it's kind of hard to judge something that has such a personal story behind it. And when you said you wrote it for your friend's death, to cope with the sadness about it, there's no need to kind of give feedback on the composition itself. But I mean, you send it in, and we are talking about compositions, and I'm trying to look away from what you wrote and that you wrote it for your friend's death, but rather see it from a perspective of just the track and what I think about it. And first of all, if you've only been at composing with the AWs for like 5 months, that is pretty solid work. That is well done. Leveler Beat mentioned in the chat, I agree with that. There's a lot of reverb on a lot of stuff that seems a little bit too much for my taste. Other than that, sound choices are really solid. In the beginning, I really dig the flute there. And what I heard actually instantly was more like, so I hear Julian pipes there all over the place. It's just the feeling that it awakes for me. But that's just an artistic choice, I guess. Whatever you prefer. The whole percussion section and the cymbals are a little bit too much up front for my taste, especially if you want to evoke that kind of sad, and I need some air here, sorry. If you want to evoke that sad feel and want to have a little more space, so to say, or emptiness and wideness, the percussion just seems a little bit too much in your face, especially these risers. Then we have the whole track. To be honest, this section here felt a little out of place. I don't think that that track needs it at all. I'm not really sure why that is in there. And again, the percussion is a little bit too much on top, but you could have easily, I mean, just on a side note, could have done just that. Very bad editing there, but you get the idea. And obviously this, you don't even need an explanation when you look at the waveform. You know that something is off here at that point. So when you have like a choir and suddenly the waveform explodes, you know something is off. So that harp run that you have there coming from the very bottom end obviously needs a lot of taming. It's totally out of place there. So you really would want to have that more along the lines of that, which obviously will now sound bad. But you get the idea. So you want to have, don't want to have that stand out that much. Why can I not move this? So let's do this. Oh, come on. Anyway, all I wanted to say with that is the harp is way too loud there. But yeah, I can only say that good on you to have that you have found a way to deal with grief and with loss. I think music is amazing to do that. So there's not much else to say. Composition is fine, and I'm hesitant to say more about the composition because music is about feeling, and you put your feelings into that, what you felt with the loss, and so well done. If you can even say something like that after the story behind the track. But it is what it is, and so let's jump on to the next one. 3 types. 3 Typen. We have a track from 3 types. I actually gotta excuse myself, and before we go on, gotta run for a second. So I will be back in a bit. So there we go. Back. Just get some something to drink. I want to spare you that sound. So use a bottle. Yeah, that's what I suggested to Alex a few moments ago. So what did I miss? How can I send my track? Anton, by the way, thanks for following me on Patreon and supporting me there. What is your handle? So I will do your track next, out of line. You spelled it right 3 types. Raining Blood Slayer, you guys are having fun while I'm away. Okay, let's listen to this thing, see what it does and what it can do. Just gonna make sure that we get rid of all that shit here, and there we go. So much for length 230. What I can instantly say is I like the groove, I like the beat of it overall, but I feel that the voice overall is a little bit too buried in the mix and too affected for my taste. But so all the auto-tune on there, I mean, one can argue about that. So it can be an artistic choice and you can do it intentionally. But when you have it all over the place, it doesn't seem like something special, you know? It's not like Cher is singing your song, you know? I really like how it's growing here. So all the orchestral parts coming in the back. This sounds really, really good. I really like it a lot. Really nice low end. So composition is great. I really like it. I dig it. I like the style. I like the orchestral parts coming in here. I like the whole movement in the track. Although I said 230, but there we go. But yeah, the vocal is what breaks it for me a little bit. I do like it overall, but the ongoing auto tune and having it so buried in the track. So if you want to do a production with a solo vocal that drives it, it's kind of counterintuitive to bury the vocal in the mix. So yeah, great job. I personally would work a little more on the vocal and try to bring it out a little more. So that's the only hint I can give there. Other than that, in terms of mixing and sound, everything is where it should be. It sounds nicely wide. Especially the last chorus, I really dig it. I can absolutely imagine that like for a night scene, driving with a car through the city lights passing by and having that track running on full blast in a movie scene or something. Can totally imagine that. Really dig it. Great work. I like it. Pretty cool. So, who's next in line? Next in line is Anton, because he just followed me on Patreon and supported me there. Thanks for that, Anton. And unfortunately, you only have sent a SoundCloud link, so that means I cannot drag it into the DAW. Do we have audio? We should. Okay. Be careful with these kind of tracks, there's something off in the transition here. There's a little noise just in between the transition. It's very subtle, but you don't want to have that there. Okay, Anton, thanks for sending that in. So from a publisher perspective, that track is not there yet. Some nice ideas there, but how to put that? It's lacking a lot of elements that make it commercially viable to be placed in a real world life situation. Especially the whole build-up part here is just lacking elements that keep interest. That sub-kick / heartbeat is nice, but loses it after that moment. And the Brahms alone don't take a track forward. So you would, at the latest at this point here, you would need to bring in some movement in terms of strings, for example. Just a little bit of movement. It's only Nikki, I got it. You need help with music. Just send an email to trackreviews@composingtutorials.com. Thank you. And so Anton, it needs just more movement. Just Brahm every 4 bars with a big hit and then keep it ringing out. Doesn't really take the track forward. So it's not the big hits, it's the stuff that happens in between that drives the track forward. So and also the high element in there is a little bit that F up there in the high synth is just a little bit annoying, I think, for lack of better words. If you do ask in English, that's fine, because we have an international audience, so English would be better. To ask something, that's what I mean. No one ever asked me if you need to buy the native instrument bundle, because I will tell you yes, and you will blame me for spending the money. Yes, you need to buy it, especially at that price. The price is amazing. $3.99 for the full Audio Imperia bundle. It's an insane deal. If you don't have anything Audio Imperia and don't grab it, I have no word for that. But don't take my word for it, because otherwise you will blame me because I pushed you to spending money. How will you explain that to your wife or to your mom or whatever? So, no, there's no way of not getting it. It's tough to say, but I said in the beginning, I will be honest with these track reviews, and this track is like, more or less sounds like hundreds of tracks in the last years before it. There's nothing really in it that makes it stand out or makes kind of raise your head and, oops, what's that? So it's not, especially that kind of stuff is not always about reinventing the wheel and being a trailblazer and setting a new style and coming up with a new way of Brahm or whatever, or soundscape. But this just too much follows what is already there for my taste. So there's nothing really inventive about it. I would just try to push a little more and experiment a little more and try to bring in some sounds that may not be as usual, but may kind of raise an eyebrow, you know. There's nothing wrong with the composition. It's all fine. Going to B major over D back to E. Especially in trailer music, you want to keep it simple. But when we compare that to the very first track that we heard, it just had this slight edge that sometimes is very hard to put in words and to really explain where that is coming from. But yeah, like Kim is just saying, for me, the whole track is just a tad too generic. Not really much new about it. So I would just keep grinding, listen to and analyze a lot of the newer tracks that come out that get actually used in trailers. Follow people like Mark Petrie and the likes. See what placements are working. Ghostwriter Music has some great stuff as well to follow when you listen to some of their releases on Spotify. Really, really good stuff in there. So try to learn from the best to step up your game, if that helps. So other than that, we are nearing. I will not go through all submissions. So first of all, thank you for submitting. I will, when I look at the time, I can do 2 more, and then I unfortunately have to run. So I will go back to the list. That means we have Hakan by Chile and Chris Myers as the ones who we will be covering today. So I would appreciate if you have comments. I am dealing with music as an amateur. Okay, Hakan, let's see what you do as an amateur. I don't think that is a label at all, because we all do music. It doesn't matter if we're an amateur or not. Your track is called Hakan by Chile. No, it's not. Well, the track has your name. So does the track have a name? Anyway, let's take a quick listen. Hakan, don't worry. It's all good. What I really like is I assume you are from the Eastern European area, like Turkey or something there. At least it sounds like your music influences come from there, and I love that reflected in the music. And don't worry, it's not that amateurish at all. Actually, there's some good stuff in there. Yeah, you can really hear your roots and the choice of scales and stuff like that. So it's dude, this is really well done. I like the rhythm a lot. Nikki, we will not get you on stream today, but send something and we can look into it next time. Are these damage loops for the percussion? So yeah, very a lot of good things to say about it. So the yeah, that's why I asked. So it is recognizable that you use damage loops. So I would definitely try to spice that up a little with like plate percussion instead of just using loops. They are just so distinct. Well, oh God, I'm hungry. I need a pizza today or something. So they're very recognizable, even used with 3 loops together underneath the track. I would try to dial that back a little and try to bring in maybe even some more Turkish instruments or Middle Eastern instruments, like where do we have it? So like more darbuka or something like that. That just, oops. Something that gives even more regional definition to that type of sound. You know, you in contrast to like a lot of us Western musicians, you have a very big advantage. You grew up with that soundscape of these Middle Eastern scales, and immediately, even as a beginner, you can hear that you have a very different understanding of this type of music than we Western musicians have. When we try to emulate something like this, it's always like a Western musician trying to sound like a world musician doing something from that region, unless we kind of take some time to study that. You have that in your blood, so to say, so you don't need to worry about that. And then I would suggest play to your strength. If that is the music you love and you like and you grew up with and that is in your DNA, try to focus more on that and bring that in even more. And I can't really put it into the track right now as it is, but I think you get the idea. Instead of using like pre-made damage loops, try to bring in some more, even some more world percussion elements, for example, stuff that you're familiar with, you know, that it just underlines the whole feel that you have in there already. But honestly, for an amateur, as you put it, this is amazing work. It sounds great. I love the feel, I love the groove, I love the ethnic flavors in there. It's very tasteful because it still sounds Western enough. This could be sitting immediately in a kind of more action sequence of Homeland or something, when they chased through the streets of Istanbul or something like that. It's really, really well done. The strings sound great. I'm a little bit envious. I would have wanted to have written that. It has a little bit of a Bourne Identity vibe to it. So, or maybe a little bit James Newton Howard vibe. I dig it, totally. Really, really, really good. No, Michael, you cannot submit anymore. I'm going to the last track now, and then I call it a day for the stream today. But we went through quite a bit. We managed 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 tracks, I think. So really, really great work, everyone. Thanks. And I know it takes balls and guts to send stuff in here and to have it presented to a broader audience, and especially since the stream goes online afterwards, so a lot of more people can listen to that and watch it. And I hope that you got something from that and that you like it. The next and last track is from Chris Myers called Dark Hearts. Hi Dirk, really appreciate your time and consideration for all you do for the community of composers. Thank you so much. I appreciate you mentioning that. This is probably the first track I have finished. I would love your opinion on feedback on that. However, I can tip you or compensate you, let me know. Okay, just, I mean, if you ask for it, you get the information. So we have a Discord server where you can join. Find the link below the video in the description to talk shop with like-minded people and just have a good time. There is my Patreon where you can support everything I do on Patreon, starting with $1 a month, and there are different packages. I also offer one-on-one tuition that is available through Patreon as well, but these seats or these places or these spots are limited, obviously, because I can't have like 100 people taking an hour a day during the month. That's not possible. But last but not least, I also have a little shop thingy going on that has some tools for composers like templates and MIDI packs and stuff like that. That is available through store.composingtutorials.com. And there's more stuff coming very, very soon. And yeah, you can also support on Twitch, although I haven't really looked into that, honestly. But yeah, the best thing is really to hit that subscribe and follow button and let the world know about that you like what you do here or what we do here. And more stuff coming. So there will also be other night sessions looking into interesting waveform by bringing that in, just on a side note. The Twitch channel is Composing Tutorials. Twitch.com/ I think it's Composing Tutorials Online. And the Discord is linked below in the video description. So, and just to make it fail safe, because I just don't know if it's it's Composing Tutorials. Link. Oh, that was my own audio back there. So there you go. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Michael. So that is done. And yeah, the other thing is store. I missed all your cheers. Yeah, kind of one strange thing that I need to look into is how I get my Twitch notifications into the stream. I need to better that. I should enable super chat. Okay, I will look into that next time. Store.composingtutorials.com is the shop if anyone is interested. And if anyone has a note for me how I actually do activate super chat on YouTube, I think that I need to do that in my settings, right? I will do that too. looking into that. If anyone has tutorials on that, hit me up after the stream. But let's jump to the last submission for today. Chris Myers with Dark Hearts. First finished track, as he puts it. So let's take a listen. You've been very generous with the high end there. Holy macaroni. That was intense. I like the feeling of that part. Very atmospheric. First, the thing I noticed is that you need to be very careful with the 5K range. That hurts. So this part of the frequency range really is a tad over the top, and it hurts. It's not that visible in the audio spectrum, but some of the trumpets are very, very bitey in that area. But other than that, really, really good. So I think the only thing that really caught me off guard is that big blast here. And you can also see in the waveform that it's kind of like, oop, what is happening? What is this doing here? Might be even the 3-3 range. That's a very nasty frequency there that needs a little bit of taming. Especially in the choir. I totally dig the feel of this whole part here. I cannot fucking play a percussion on top of that. Nice harmony change there. Overall, sound is great. Choice of samples and libraries is great. And I like the journey that it takes you on through very different emotions and states of feelings. It has more a film score vibe than again, I come from the production music field, and I always listen to tracks in terms of licensability from a production music standpoint, where I would say that this is too much all over the place through the genres, but for the purpose of like a film score type of track, I can absolutely see it supporting various scenes and different emotions, states of emotions that it needs to represent. Really dig it. Well done. Cellos sound great here. Has a little bit of a Carmina Burana feel. But again, just a little control in the 3 to 5K range would help a little bit to make it a little less harsh. But actually, that's really like critiquing on very high level. It's still very solid and very good. Love that magic vibe here. Harry Potter all over the place. Brass sounds amazing as well. Absolutely solid. Well done. With that, I will leave you into the night, into the afternoon, into the morning, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in today. I will let you know in time when the next listening to your tracks stream will come. I'm not really sure if we are going for that twice a month or once a month, but I want to try to do that more regular. In case you want to see that and hear that, let me know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, leave reviews, leave a comment on the video below once it's live. Thanks to all the submissions today, to all you great writers and composers out there. That would not be possible without you, so thanks for providing the content. Again, I just try to be as honest as I can about stuff. Sometimes I simply don't like stuff. Sometimes I love stuff, despite it sounding not up to par, maybe. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today, and see you next time. Bye-bye.